have with us today someone who has a really cool YouTube show. And his name is Uday Singh, and he's also the co-host of the new show, Moscow Mules. Welcome, Uday.
Hi, Tara. Great to be on the show. Thank you so much for calling me. I mean, I watched you so many times on the news. I never imagined that I would actually go live with you on YouTube. So it's actually a very nice moment. I mean, after seeing what you've been through, the story, how you escaped, everything. I'm so sorry for the quality of the video. I'm just sitting outside. I'm right near the Red Square. I'm basically 50 yards away from the Red Square. I had to visit a friend. Yeah, great to be on the show. I always wanted to ask you. You told me once when we were at a bar, you told me your favorite cocktail is the Moscow Mule. I wanted to ask you, do you know where the Moscow Mule was actually invented?
Was it New York or Chicago?
Yes. I mean, isn't it ironic that the
Dublin. I could have been one of my relatives who ran liquor. Because my uncles were actually wildcatters, and one of them got kicked out of California and had to go back to Ireland. He wasn't welcome in California for a bit. So I always wondered, did he? Anyway, go on.
Yes, and I mean it's a bit ironic, isn't it? One of the most popular cocktails with vodka, the Moscow Mule was actually invented in New York. I mean, I also wanted to ask you if you're related to the great John Reed.
Oh, I wish I was. Actually, my great grandmother was a communist, and she loved his work. And a lot of intellectuals at that period of time. I never met my great grandmother, but I heard about her, and she was a fearsome woman to behold. I'll try to find her for our fam sometime, but she was tiny, but fierce, and she loved him, Jack. Well, they call him Jack, but John Reed, yeah, Jack Reed, and they even have a memorial to him. I haven't been to it here though. I'll have to check it out.
You must. I mean, there's some very interesting places, of course, in Moscow. I mean, how long you've been in Moscow for? About 6 months, if I'm not mistaken.
Five. Yeah,
5 to 6 months. I mean, you've got a lot to see in Moscow, because I mean, I've been in Moscow for about 7 years. I finished my bachelor's here in Moscow from one of the most famous universities of international affairs, and then I started my own channel, the Gun Tour, where we analyze the Russian military-industrial complex and most of the weapons that are being used right now in the special military operation on the front lines, and most of the weapons that are for export to most countries, like the Arab countries, Egypt, Algeria, India, China. And I mean, it's been very interesting. I was very lucky to meet some very nice people from the Ministry of Defense, and they just allowed me to, well, they just go ahead and film all this equipment, and you've got a green light. It's been a great experience.
Yeah, Reef was bringing up your links. So the audience, if you want a link to that, you can go down below and you can find it. But Reef, could you bring up that what you just brought up, that clip, and play it for just a second? There was a couple shows that I watched, but one, you were really hot, which was interesting. I think that's the one Reef has. Reef, could you show?
Oh yeah.
So this is how they're made.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Gun Tour, your soon-to-be favorite weapons and travel show. Now, I went and tested the BMP-3, the Russian-made infantry fighting vehicle. If you haven't seen the video yet,
all right, Reef, thanks.
Some good memories.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, but it was really hot in there. Talk about that. They were making munitions, correct?
They were making the chassis of the infantry fighting vehicles and the armored personnel carriers. And my idea for the Gun Tour was to film all these manufacturing processes for all the countries that are actually buying. There are many countries that are buying Russian weaponry, including India, including my own. And I mean, we in the Indian Army, we swear by these weapons, because these are one of the most reliable, one of the most powerful weapons. I mean, we've got We've got the American military-industrial complex that make extremely good weapons, like the F-16s, the F-15s, and the I'm just forgetting the M117 artillery systems. And Russia also makes all these artillery systems, and they export it to the Arab countries, to India, and we swear by these weapons. So what I wanted to do with the gun tour was to go to all these sites where they actually manufacture most of these weapons, and to show the world and to show everyone how these weapons are actually made, because we all see the results of these weapon systems. I'm not going to say where and exactly how. I don't want you to get demonetized, but at the same time, that already that ship has sailed.
You're fine.
So
You
I
can
mean,
do whatever you like. I mean, hopefully people just donate out of the goodness of their heart. I might see it or I might not.
yeah. So most of these weapons are being used in the current conflict in Ukraine against NATO weapons, against American weapons, the M117s, and soon to arrive the Abrams tanks. So these weapons are gonna go against each other head to head. And we're living in very interesting times. We never imagined that the American and the Russian military industrial complexes will actually go against each other in a modern conflict. These are very dangerous times. The chances of escalation are very high. And you and I, if you both live in Moscow, we both live in Eastern Europe. This is a very dangerous time to be alive. You know what I mean?
Or in the globe. I mean, except maybe, I don't know, Patagonia.
Exactly. Yeah, that's true.